You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back again, live this time. Yes, claps all around. Great job, Kirk Doctor. And without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Matty C, a.k.a. Callie, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Vold, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
It is another Wednesday. It is beautiful outside. The weather inside is fantastic. The weather is fantastic, like I just said. The world is falling apart, but at least we have Wednesday nights here with MinneZona Sports Live. So I'm doing pretty good.
Good, because we got a lot to get to. And obviously, Voldy, loving the Colorado Rockies. Jay, you got the hat. I mean, it's just fantastic. Very nice.
Yes, sir.
Very snazzy. I brought out our good friend John Manziel.
John. Yes.
John Manziel. Not Johnny. John Manziel now. But
Jonathan, if you will.
yeah, we could do that. Jonathan Manziel. Okay, well, whatever works, right? And the Kirk Doctor, he's here as well. We got a lot to get to, so let's start it off with some Tater hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, so it's fresh out of the oven. It's hot because it's the fight for first. We're talking about the Minnesota Twins. So anyway, this is a big series for the Minnesota Twins, and obviously Game 1 against the Cleveland Indians went pretty well for the Twins. Voldy, they get the win, 3-2. Sano, Cruz, each homer. Let's go. So they start off good, but then last night they lose to a really good pitcher in Shane Bieber. And no, he is not related to Justin Bieber, okay? Ladies owners, no, he's not. But he has the same last name, so it all connects, right? Anyway, so, yeah, I think the Twins were up 2-1 last night, Voldy, but then things fell apart at the seams. Francisco Lindor had a 2-run home run to take the lead. And, again, you know, pitching is something they got to look at, too. So, Voldy, the Twins right now, might I add, are winning 2-0 against Cleveland. So, claps out for the Twins so far. Let's keep it going. Let's win the series. So, Voldy, what do you think? Do you think the Twins will hold on to the division after this series? Because if they lose, then all of a sudden, you know, Cleveland gains another game. So
right,
that's a big one tonight.
Yeah, it really is a big one tonight, yeah, because it's the battle for first place. So one team picks up one game against the other. It's either going to be tied going into it, or the Twins are going to be up 2 games against Cleveland. This is certainly a very big series because of the fact that, of course, we're now nearing the midway point, and the trade deadline is, you know, Monday. Monday. No, Tuesday, July 31st.
Right.
Twins are obviously going to be buying, you know. They're going to be looking for some bullpen help. I would certainly hope they'd be looking for bullpen help or anything for that matter.
Big time.
In that case, you can never get too rich off of what the Twins have right now, especially the fact that, you know, they're kind of banged up. Mitch Garver's on the DL. Byron Buxton's on the DL as well. Josh Donaldson hasn't
Yeah.
played in almost a month, although it's looking like he may come back this weekend, quite possibly. He was getting some time in some inter-squad games back in St. Paul and is with the team in Cleveland, but again, hasn't played in almost a month. That is very big, especially the fact that, he got off to a bit of a sluggish start, I would say, and then he gets hurt. And, obviously with the shortened season, every at-bat counts. Right now, I'm kind of looking at it. Obviously, the fact that the Twins haven't been able to rough up Shane Bieber all season, and he's just had their way with them is, pretty big to say the least. That's going to be a problem if and when it does come down to some crucial series in the second half of the season. I also look at the fact that, a very interesting situation is that Mike Clevenger for the Indians is back after his demotion because of breaking COVID protocols and that whole almost semi-toxic locker room that is coming out with Cleveland. But, right now for the Twins, I think right now it's just going to come down to the fact that they need to win some of these close games. Obviously a 3-2 win the other night and then a 4-2 loss last night. They got to be able to find ways to win some of these close games. Sure, they've been able to put up a lot of runs in the early going, but obviously those aren't always going to be the case. So you're going to win some 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 ball games.
Right.
It's that back half of the bullpen, again, that's got to hold strong for the Twins here going into the second half of the season.
Right. And you talked about struggling Twins, and one of them has been Jose Barrios. And
Trash.
well, right now he's doing okay. He's
Congrats.
hanging in there. And the thing
One in a row.
Yeah. The thing is he's got to be much better. And if he's going to be the quote unquote ace, he needs to act like it. He needs to be it, because honestly, we all know that the Twins aren't going to go out and get an elite pitcher at the deadline. Maybe not. Hey, if I'm wrong, great. But at the same time, the Twins need to realize that in order to get to where they want to get to, before the season, they talked about going to the World Series, Voldy. And here's the thing. You need elite pitching, right?
Right.
Starting pitching. Relief pitchers, I feel, were set, okay? Sergio Romo, a guy that has been fantastic. I think he gave up a double, I think game one here. And then all of a sudden, he got the next three batters out to end the inning. So, again, that's what the Twins need. Now, can we get that with starting pitching? Randy Dobnak, the Uber guy, has been playing pretty well. Okay, Maeda. We need to have those guys carry the load a little bit, but Jose Barrios has to lead them. And then Easy A is saying right now, playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. Playoffs! Exactly. That's kind of the thing. Is in order to get to where they want to get, you need quality pitching. And the Indians have that in Shane Bieber. They really do. Because
They do.
He has been fantastic. And I was surprised when the Twins got up on them. He struggled a little bit. Thing is you got to pounce on that opportunity. And Mets brought up a good point, too. Rogers has been struggling. So
Big time.
do they look at some closing pitching, things like that? But I feel like, and then also Buxton's been hurt, too. So we got to factor that in. But this series against the Cleveland Indians is paramount. Absolutely paramount. And that's what they need to do is look at this series and keep getting games up on them, right? And here's the thing. Chicago White Sox are creeping up too. I mean, they're in the same position as the Indians. So the Twins, I mean, right now, they got to keep it rolling. They've been fantastic at home too, Voldy. And, 12-3, and then away they're 8-8. So, again, you want to see it a little bit better when you're going to other ballparks. But I feel like the Twins have been playing the Royals way too much, I feel like. I don't know who scheduled that, but... And then also they've had some trouble with them, too. So, Voldy, are you concerned if they start struggling against the teams that they should beat?
Yeah, I'm certainly keeping my eye on these series, like against Detroit and against Kansas City as well. Those are very winnable games. It wasn't all that long ago that the Twins got swept by Kansas City in Kansas City. They start dropping games to Detroit, then the Chicago is going to take right over. Chicago's 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're hitting the skin off the ball, and it's ridiculous to see. They've got a lot of young, hot prospects that are making impact for them. They got some big signings in the offseason. Pitching staff is finally coming around. Lucas Giolito threw a no-hitter the other night. Dallas Keuchel's in the rotation. You've got guys like Jose Abreu. You've got this Luis Robert guy. Tim Anderson continues to hit at a high clip. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. I mean, the White Sox are here to play this year. Cleveland might be on the way out. Not 100% sure what they're kind of doing right now. Obviously, they're 18-12. Twins are, 20-11, and Chicago's at 19-12. Chicago got off to a bit of a rough start, but they're starting to, to figure things out. Once it starts getting hot on the south side, like it has in the last couple of weeks, then that ball starts flying out, and that's what they've been doing as of right now. And it's going to be scary to see how this 3-team race right now, because we can already throw out Detroit and Kansas City. They're done for. I mean, Kansas City is playing for a good draft pick or something. Maybe they'll get rid of some guys at the deadline. Detroit's also a rebuilding stage as well the last couple of years, especially with Ronnie Gardenhire at the helm for the Tigers. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. If the Twins start struggling, it's going to be open season for the AL Central.
And a lot of pissed off Twins fans, Voldy.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing, too. One more thing I want to add before we get into our next hot take. If the Twins struggle against the Tigers, there's no hope. No hope for this team. If they can't take down the Tigers. I mean, Gardy, we love Gardy. But, again, don't lose to the Tigers. Jimbo, Rogers is fine. Need to get a full lineup back with Donaldson. Exactly. Trade Buxton for pitching.
That's interesting.
It is. It's interesting.
It's an interesting take there.
Again, the injuries with Buxton, too. I love Buxton.
I don't know what else you could really do with him. Maybe a couple years ago you'd get a pretty good trade out of him, but, those injuries are starting to mount up.
And, I don't know. I'm getting concerned. With Buxton, but, hey, if they can find some pitching with that, I'm okay. So, anyway, we'll see how the Twins do here, obviously. So, it looks like they're still up 2-0 against the Cleveland Indians, so hopefully Brios can get it rolling here as well. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. We're talking about the Timberwolves because they nabbed the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this never happens to the Timberwolves. Voldy, you and I both know. All right, we got this going on here. Before we move on to that, I want to get to our zoners. Yeah, but Donaldson has been unimpressive so far, contract-wise. They are pretty deep with him, too. And then Jimbo says we have a bunch of outfielders. We do. Kirilloff, Kepler, Rosario, etc., etc. So we'll see what happens. But the Wolves.
Lamont Wade Jr.'s looked pretty impressive so far in the handful of games. I mean, he might be the future. I don't know.
Jake Cave, another guy.
Jake Cave, the old guy, absolutely.
The old guy, I love it. All right, so anyway, the Wolves get the number 1 pick. Okay. I've been hearing a lot of talk. Will Rattel, Cole Munson, if you guys are tuning in, please chime in because I want your thoughts as well. They get the number 1 pick, and there's been a lot of scenarios. Voldy, for one, there's been talk of them potentially trading the pick in order to get some other guys. Now, I know that people are saying, well, what about Booker? Devin Booker. Let's think about some other things here, too. So, Fansided.com came up with potential trades for the number 1 pick. Now, some of these I'm looking at don't seem realistic. The most realistic that I've seen here, Voldy, is probably the Buddy Hield trade with the Kings. So the Wolves would trade their number 1 pick And then they get Buddy Hield, who has been really good shooter for the Sacramento Kings. They have to give up James Johnson, Jake Layman, and the number 1 pick. So, and then, we got Seymour chiming in. The more interesting topic is, what are the Golden State Warriors going to get for the number 2 pick? And that's another option, too, as we like to say here on MinneZona.
The Lions. That's what Golden State's going to get.
There you go.
Whole gall darn farm for that number 2 pick.
Yep. Seriously. So, anyway, Voldy, do you think, from your perspective, do you think the Wolves will shop around with that number 1 pick in order to get a veteran guy, a younger guy, and then possibly, another pick in the first round?
I mean, obviously, in that situation, I would definitely shop around because you can never rule anything out. Rosas coming into his first full offseason with the Timberwolves, number 1 pick. I mean, you got to do something with it. You got to look
Seriously.
down and to see maybe move down to 4 or 5. They've moved down to 3. Somebody wants to move up. Obviously, the Timberwolves are going to be asking for quite a bit. I think it's the right move for the Timberwolves to at least give it a good look, because obviously you can never turn down a good trade. Is the Devin Booker trade going to happen? Probably not. They're going to have to give a lot more than number 1. They're going to have to give up some pretty decent players for that trade to even happen. Like you had mentioned with the trade with the Kings, I think that's probably the most realistic. I also like the fact that Jake Layman is the hot prospect on the Timberwolves that everybody is wanting to get, or at least that's the scenarios right now. Couldn't even tell you who Jake Layman is or what he even looks like for the Timberwolves, but apparently he's the guy. So, I mean,
it is what it is. Here's the thing, Voldy. I'm looking at another potential. I think Munson mentioned this. He's saying Ben Simmons, but I'm not feeling that one. I'm really not, because he's been a roller coaster, man. He's been a roller freaking coaster. Jimbo, Yan Wolves. But anyway, Jimbo, we did see your update. Twins down 3-2. Barrios gives up a 3-run home run. Hey.
Trash.
Golly. Gotta figure it out. Poll ads. Let them spend. Let them trade. Yeesh. But anyway, we play basketball in this state. There you go. Yeah, apparently.
Unfortunately.
Well, D-Lo, Cat. There's hope, but we say that every year, like we say here on MinneZona. But Aaron Gordon's another guy that I wouldn't mind seeing with the Wolves. Cat, D-Lo. Hey, let's see what happens with that one, too.
That'd be a very interesting dynamic, I think, with Eric Gordon on the team. That'd be Aaron Gordon, excuse me. Very, very interesting dynamic if that should happen.
Timberwolves luck get the number 1 pick in a year with no bona fide number 1 player.
Amen to that.
It's true. But, again, who wants to come to the North? Seriously. It's cold up here. But still, D-Lo and Cat want to try and make something out of this. And I think they can. I really do. Rosas has been doing a phenomenal job. He's been doing better than some of the GMs that they've had in the past. I mean, we got to factor that one in it, too. I mean, Flip, I know Flip was the coach, but, again, Flip did a great job drafting guys, too, when he was the coach and kind of sort of GM, too. So Rosas knows what he's doing, and the Wolves are going to make the most out of it. I really think so. But, again, until the games are played, I guess we'll see. But, again, they get the number 1 pick. So let's just say they don't trade at all. They're not going to trade him. Number 1 pick, people are saying LaMelo Ball. We've talked about this at length. And I want to ask not only you, Voldy, but the Zoners. Would you feel good about LaMelo Ball on the Timberwolves?
Only if LeVar Ball is barred from the state of Minnesota. That is it.
Seriously.
You get all of that aside. You look at whatever tape is out there. Kid can play. Sure, he had to leave high school, play internationally to get some sort of recognition, skip over the college process, which probably, the other ball boys should have probably looked at. Obviously, the other one. I can't even tell you. It's been so long.
Lonzo.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
All I know is LaMelo and LeVar. That's about it. Just the other guy. Lonzo.
Yep.
Lonzo's the one guy. He was the first one. Then you get the third guy. Nobody knows who he is. But looking at LaMelo, I think, do you want to take him number one? I don't want to take him number one. Is he going to go number one? Maybe. That the guy out of Georgia, Anthony Edwards, apparently he's pretty good. I don't know. College basketball and the draft lottery process, I don't know how you come up with some of these number one guys when I literally haven't heard of anybody other than LaMelo Ball. Maybe it's one of those, no news is good news. But would I feel comfortable LaMelo Ball being taken by the Timberwolves? Maybe if they move down to 3 or 4, number one, I don't know.
And
I don't like it.
Yeah, I get it. And here's what I want to bring up too. I mean, LaMelo has game. Lonzo can't shoot. LaAngelo just can't be in the NBA.
Goodness, I should have remembered
No,
that.
It's all good. Again.
Dumbest name out of the 3.
Exactly. But at the same time, this LaMelo Ball is 6'6". He's a 6'6" point guard. Okay? He knows what he's doing. He's a good player. I agree. What comes with that is LeVar Ball. Okay? Now, if they draft him, the Wolves got to know what they're getting into with LeVar, because you can't let him control what you want to do as an organization. Okay? Now, when the Lakers were playing and everything, Lonzo was on the team. I mean, LeVar was bashing everyone on the Lakers, everything like that. Oh, if he wants to go to the Pelicans. If he's drafted, they got to know, because it will be a media disaster with LeVar. Absolute, just awful. Because all he's going to do is rip anyone that says, well, my boy needs to get the ball, blah, 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 and relax. Okay? That's the question. How are you going to handle that situation? Are you going to go into this saying, well, we need to have a talk with him? Is that going to do anything? He's just going to talk about it. So, Wolves, I'm telling you, you better have a plan. Now, Edwards is a guy I'm hearing is supposed to be pretty doggone good. Get Cole Munson, make the case that LaMelo Ball is better. Is a better Timberwolves point guard than Ricky Rubio. Oh, man, this will be interesting.
Fantastic. I love it already. Let's make that happen. Yeah. Now I want the Timberwolves to draft LaMelo.
All right.
Just for that reason only.
All right. Fair enough. And then sounds like a Jack Johnson scenario. I would avoid
very similar.
That
very
the
similar.
plague. All right. I mean, the zoners, I appreciate your intake. I mean, again, there's so many ways that this could go down. And if they're going to go with LaMelo, let's see what happens. I think he would be a pretty doggone good player for the Wolves, but again, is he going to stay? That's the question. This could all go downhill very quick. So we'll have to see what happens. But the Wolves, nabbing the number 1 pick, that's impressive. And that helps things. So good for the Wolves. And I did say on our Thursday Q&A, which we do every week, and Voldy's up next. But I said I wasn't feeling good about it, but then all of a sudden I get the notification, oh, the Wolves got the number 1 pick. So, hey, you know what? I said, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and you know what? It worked out just fine. So, the Wolves nabbed the number 1 pick. Dad C says, the number 1 pick has to be a dependable player that will establish a winning tradition for the Wolves. Well, Papa Callahan always says, too, some guys go from the penthouse to the outhouse, so we got to watch out for that. So hopefully that's not a LaMelo thing. But, yeah, I agree. I agree with Papa C. So, anyway, Voldy, great job with Tater Tot Hot Take, and appreciate the zoners chiming in. We had a lot of people chime in, and, hey, we got more along the way because we got to go to class, Voldy, and it's time for Callahan's School of Logic. I'm going to settle a debate, so let's get it rolling, Curve Doctor.
class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, so Voldy, you have your pen, you have your paper, the zoners do as well. It's time to settle something here, guys, and there's been a lot of talk the past few months on the socials medias, mainly Twitter, because, again, there's a lot of Twitter trolls, including our good friend Terry, even though he was on Facebook, but, again, we don't need to talk about that. Kirk Cousins versus Josh Allen, okay? Kirk Cousins last year definitely had a better year than Josh Allen. Now, you might wonder why I'm saying that right now is because ever since the Vikings made the trade, gave Stephon Diggs over to Buffalo, there's been a lot of talk, oh, he's going to have a better quarterback, and oh, he's going to be so much better than Cousins and everything like that. What in the world are we talking about, right? So I'm not going to compare what would be better if Diggs was with Cousins or Allen. We are just going to compare both guys. Can we just select neither and move on? Now, again, Voldy chimed in on Twitter saying, hey, what about Case Keenum? And then also shout out to Skull Hype on Twitter too, Dante Culpepper. But I'm talking about the beef between this whole Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins thing, okay? And I'm going to base it off last year, okay? Because honestly, I'm looking at the stats right now, Voldy. Yards, for one. 3,000 yards, 3,089 yards for Josh Allen, okay? Kirk Cousins, Kirky, 3,603 yards, okay? Let's compare the touchdowns. Josh Allen had 20 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, 26. How many interceptions? Well, Josh Allen had 9. Kirk Cousins had 6. Okay? Now, mobility for Josh Allen, I mean, he's got it. All right? Much better than Kirk. We get it. But he had 9 touchdowns. Obviously, he's outranking Kirk by a landslide. But if you want to talk about a more pure, accurate passer, it's 1,000% Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins, his accuracy was so on point last year with the play action, Stefanski and Kubiak helping him out. He threw, and then also, Kirk threw into tight windows on 20% of his throws. That went down a little bit in 2018, 20%, 16% in 2019. But Kirk has been a better deep ball thrower than Mr. Josh Allen. For one, Stephon Diggs caught a lot of those. And you got to factor that one in too. But Seymour, Kirk Cousins had Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay during his time in Washington and couldn't get one playoff win. I will throw that back to you, Chris, and say, well, Kirk Cousins just won a playoff game with Stefanski while Josh Allen was up 17-0 against the Texans and lost. And he looked like, I told the Kerf doctor this before the show, and honestly, he looked like a third-string high school quarterback. I mean, he was awful. He couldn't handle pressure. He was trying to make something out of nothing, tried to pitch the ball to his tight end while he had all this yards to, he was gaining all these yards and tries to flip to his tight end, fumble. Like, what are you doing? This is the playoffs, man. Just go down. So if we want to compare both of these guys, I'm going with Kirk Cousins. Okay, the logic. If you look at the stats, if you are a stats person, and I've seen a lot of them, okay? I'm not huge into stats. I look at a lot of things, what you can do come game time. And again, Josh Allen, I like what I see, okay? I had him on my fantasy team. He was a good player. He was a good fantasy football player. If I were to take a fantasy football player for this year, I'd probably say Josh Allen because he can run it. Okay, he can run. The throws are what his deep throws. I mean, he's got an arm, but does he have the accuracy? That's the question. I'm not making the case for Josh Allen, just like to add that tidbit of Kirk Cousins, so people understand why he gets the criticism he does. Right, exactly. No, I'm with you. I'm saying that for a lot of the other people that think that, that Josh Allen's better and whatnot. Now, if I were Stephon Diggs, let's go to Stephon Diggs for a second. I saw a couple deep balls that Josh Allen threw. They're pretty good. But I've also seen a lot of nice dipping dots from Kirk Cousins in training camp as well. So, again, Kirk Cousins is more successful, with short throws too. But again, you have to be good in all phases as a quarterback, right? And Kirk Cousins doesn't really have much mobility, right? But this year, he said he wants to run it a little bit because he does have some athleticism. I mean, no offense, Voldy. He's no TFB because TFB is not that type of guy to run out of the pocket, right? So when we compare these two guys, okay, I mean, what's Diggs on third downs, he was so much better. Going from a 30% first down rate when targeting Diggs, to a 58%, averaging 12.4 yards per attempt on those throws. So I don't know what the beef is with Diggs, but who knows. Josh Allen has the most inconsistent deep ball, and that's the difference. Okay? Kirk Cousins, more accurate, and honestly, if you add Stephon Diggs to that, good luck to the Bills. Really, I think this whole Josh Allen is better than Kirk Cousins thing is just overblown. People talk about it. And the logic here in this Zoners is look at what Kirk Cousins has done with the Vikings these past couple of years, okay? Because he's done everything in his power to be a successful quarterback, and he has, okay? Now, they won a playoff game. That's a big step. But, again, we got to look into this upcoming season. It's going to be different. It's going to be a whole lot different. So I don't know why people are getting into an uproar with saying, like, oh, butthurt Vikings fans are mad that Diggs left and everything like that. We're sad. I was sad. I didn't think they were going to trade him, but they did. At the same time, Voldy, I'm not trying to be biased either because Kirk Cousins, I think, is a better quarterback than Josh Allen is right now. Josh Allen, can he improve? Sure. He showed the Vikings not too long ago that they weren't the team that they thought. I mean, the Vikings were 17-point favorites, and he shut us up, okay? So I'm not saying that Josh Allen's a terrible quarterback. He's not good. But if I were to choose between the two, I'd take Kirk Cousins. That's the logic in that. Voldy, what do you think?
You bring up a lot of good points. The main thing when I look at these two guys, obviously Josh Allen's going to have more of the mobility on his side because he has to.
Yeah.
The offensive line for Buffalo was not very good this last year. 510 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns for your quarterback.
Yeah.
Some of those, if not a majority of those, are scramble plays because he's trying to find an open man. Guys are covered, and the pocket pretty much collapsed as soon as the ball went into his hands. Yes, he's very bad with the deep ball because a lot of it he's got to make those quick decisions and try to huck one downfield so he doesn't get plastered into the turf at, the Buffalo Bills field, wherever he's playing week to week. I kind of look at it from the situation, obviously, on the other side of the chart. Kirk Cousins, big year from 2018 to 2019. Yep. Yes, he get that second year under his belt, and, there were a lot of, great benefits this past year. Stephon Diggs was a big help, Adam Thielen as well, the development of that receiving core, mixing it in with the backs out of the backfield as well. Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook, Mike Boone towards the end of the year as well. I mean, getting those guys in the mix certainly helped build that confidence. Having that offensive line, which was better than Buffalo, we'll say, this past year, even though, always looking to improve with the offensive line. It certainly gave Cousins a lot more time to develop plays and look downfield more. Right. Between the two, obviously, I'm going to take Kirk Cousins, but if you flip the script, you put Kirk Cousins in Buffalo and you take Josh Allen in Minnesota, I mean, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of differences other than the rushing and the mobility that Josh Allen would bring to the Vikings offense.
Sure.
It would be a stark contrast to see Josh Allen flourish very well in Minnesota, but obviously Kirk Cousins got my favor.
Right, and so far with Josh Allen making that playoff appearance, there were a lot of good things. I mean, they were up 17-0 against Houston, but it all fell apart, and he got flustered. He made stupid decisions. They had a chance to even win the game and beat him, but Josh Allen just forgot how to play quarterback or something. While Kirk was taking on a New Orleans Ants team and put the dagger in their season. I mean, this is a guy that has been ridiculed from ever since he was with the, quote, Washington football team, right? And, again, that organization is, ugh. I mean, Ron Rivera, I'm glad that he's there because I think he knows what he's doing. But at the same time, Kirk has a lot of weapons now, and he can utilize that. I mean, Cook, Thielen. I mean, now you got Justin Jefferson. BC Johnson has been great in training camp, too. I mean, there are so many weapons on this team. Rudy, Irv Smith. So let's see what they can do with Kirk. And Kirk's going to work with Justin Jefferson a lot. I mean, this Kubiak is the offensive coordinator now. It won't be much difference, but hey, if it works, let's do it. But Kirk Cousins, Josh Allen, I'm taking Kirk Cousins. Not trying to be biased. I'm looking at stats, okay? That's what I've been looking at. There's a lot of stats people that look at this, and I would take Kirk Cousins. I think the Kerf doctor would take Kirk Cousins in a heartbeat as well. So that's just me. I think the zoners are all in agreement. But I just wanted to put this thing to bed because I don't know why some of these Bills fans on Twitter think that. Because they're like, well, Stefan's going to be a better receiver. Let's see what happens, okay? Because if Josh Allen can't get him the ball, guess what you're going to get? Cryptic tweets. You're going to get him missing practice. So we'll see. Let's see what happens. But anyway, that's Callahan's school of logic. We needed to get this and get done, right? Kirk Cousins, better than Josh Allen at this point. But anyway, Voldy, we got to get to the Zoner's favorite segment, your favorite segment, my favorite segment. It's called Absurd or Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
It is what it is. So anyway, Voldy, we got some good ARAs. I mean, there's been a lot happening, and I think we're going to start out with the Vikings again. So why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Yeah, that was a pretty good segue that we go from Vikings to more Vikings to start off ARA this week. Well, it was announced this week that the Minnesota Vikings will not be allowing fans into U.S. Bank Stadium for the first two home games of the 2020 season. Now, the Vikings are scheduled to host the Green Bay Packers September 13th and the Tennessee Titans September 27th. But the state of Minnesota is saying large gatherings of over 250 people, not the best idea in the world. Right. Now, after that, the Vikings are only going to have one home game in the next 5 weeks after those two home games, which would be October 18th against the Atlanta Falcons. Looking at the situation overall, absurd or approved, Vikings not allowing fans into U.S. Bank Stadium.
Stamp of approval. It's again, I think we talked about some of this not too long ago, and the Vikings know how to. Certain situations, the Vikings know how to deal with a lot of things that have happened to the franchise the past year, like way back, way back. And this thing is just so different. And here's what I'm going to say about it. A lot of teams are doing the 25% of fans, 15,
right.
Whatever. But for the first two home games, the first home game is against Green Bay. That's going to be odd, right? We talked about it before the show, Voldy. And again, I wonder maybe they'll have some Zoom thing going on or something like that with fans on the Titantron or, whatever, on the big screen. But at the same time, and then we got Jack chiming in. So many countries are entering stage 3 trials for a vaccine. This will be over and in the rear view mirror soon. Approved. The fans don't want to see the Packers blow out the Vikings in week 1. Yeah, we got Mets talking all this smack. Yeah, we'll see, Mets.
Yeah, Mets
Mr.
are
Packer fan.
one that's ruining the fantasy football draft for all of us in our league.
That's true.
Fact.
Embrace the suck, but we will get through it.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Embrace the suck.
Exactly.
Love
it, Jack. But yeah, I think we got to look at this. If I hear the trials are going really well too, Jack. So definitely. But again, they're playing it safe, and they should. 100% should. We got to see how this progresses, and once they get the vaccine, hopefully that this thing can be in the rear view mirror, and go on with our lives and hopefully get some fans back in the stands. I think they're going to they're going to ease kind of the restrictions a little bit. They're going to have, I think the Vikings, I could see them after, and again, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but best case scenario, they get to the next game, I believe, like you said, against the Falcons. I believe they're going to have a couple, or a good big group of fans in there.
Like 20%.
Yeah, let's do that. 20%. I was kind of thinking of a number, and I'm just like, do I want to go? But yeah, 20% is good. So yeah, it's got my stamp of approval when the Vikings take down the Packers. How do you like that one, Mets? Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's got my stamp of approval as well. Obviously, you would like to be able to attend the first home game of the season. U.S. Bank Stadium. I've yet to be there myself in any sort of capacity whatsoever. But I'm looking at it overall. I would like to see fans at U.S. Bank Stadium, but given the current circumstances, the health guidelines from the state of Minnesota, that's not going to be happening too soon. And we're hoping as well that, they do get creative. I'd like to see, maybe the cardboard cutouts, maybe the video board things like they're doing in the NBA. The WWE has been doing that lately too, although that's been a lot of problems as a whole to start off. But certainly will be interesting to see once that third home game on October 18th comes rolling around, if and when fans are available and are able to attend the game as well.
And then we have our intern guy. He says, "Go Pack, go."
Nope.
This is turning into, what do you think? Absurd or approved? No fans. This is turning into infiltration of Packer fans trying to take over MinneZona. And that will not happen. Not one bit. No.
Nope. Not today, Satan.
Yeah. Intern guy, where have you been? You need to work tonight. Anyway, stamp of approval. Vikings know what they're doing, so why don't we move on to the next one, Voldy?
Well, it was announced earlier this month, we'll say that the Missouri Valley Football Conference, the conference for the three-time defending FCS national champion of football, NDSU Bison, announced that they will be postponing their season for football and fall sports as well. Well, North Dakota State isn't having that at all. They announced earlier this week that they will be playing a non-league game October 3rd and they'll be playing against the likes of Central Arkansas. Now, a lot of talk going into this contest before it was even made official of what time it was going to be played at, that this is a bit of a showcase event for a one-star quarterback by the name of Trey Lance. Now, the Bison, 37 consecutive games, 8 of the past 9 FCS titles, and quite possibly one of the top draft prospects going into the 2021 draft, that being Trey Lance. Not bad for a kid from Marshall, Minnesota.
Exactly.
Now, this is a situation overall that quite possibly, not only for the fact for the whole team getting an opportunity to play this fall, and a lot of them possibly going into the NFL draft in 2021, but also being a showcase event for quarterback Trey Lance. One game out of a whole season. Obviously, the ACC and the SEC are going to be playing their full conference schedules, this fall as well. But is it absurd or approve NDSU getting this opportunity to play against Central Arkansas?
Stamp of approval. And the reason why I say that is North Dakota State football is like everything to NDSU fans up there. And again, due to the pandemic, they're trying to make people comfortable, make sure that no one's spreading the virus, and all of a sudden, people are getting cases left and right. And Matt's saying right here, would have loved to see NDSU versus Oregon. Yeah, I would too. But again, this is the cards we were dealt, or they were dealt, and everyone else too. So it's got my stamp of approval because I think this is a perfect showcase for Trey Lance to show what he's got. And he's shown it already. I'm just saying, now you can look at the showcase to see him in action. Okay. And I believe our good friend Todd McShay has Lance at number 14 overall in the 2021 draft. And that Mel Kiper Jr., he's got Trey Lance at number 15 among his prospects for the 2021 draft. So, again, this guy is one heck of a quarterback. He goes to NDSU. RIP to the Week 2 slate of college football. Go look back at it. It was going to be legendary. I agree. Sorry, but Oregon trounces NDSU. It's going to be great. And I'm going to watch it because Trey Lance, Voldy, you've seen him play. When he was a freshman, he was fantastic for the Marshall High School. Not too far. It's only, 30 minutes from the Granite Falls studios here. So we love to see guys have, success. So, Voldy, it's got my stamp of approval. What do you think?
Yeah, what a small world we're living in.
I know.
The fact that Trey Lance, I remember watching him when I was working at KMHL Radio in Marshall, that he was, he was a freshman on that football team. And now the fact that he is, a couple of games away, a couple of combines, some interviews, and possibly getting drafted is amazing. Obviously, I've talked to the likes of Blaze Andrews, who's, a lineman for the Gophers. I remember talking to him his senior year, before senior year even began, about the recruiting process and how that all laid out. And, obviously, my stamp of approval. Any way you can get these kids some action going into, a long off season. A lot of these players probably not going to be coming back next year. Some solid draft choices, besides the likes of Trey Lance, a lot of them going into this, this potential long off season of not knowing what the spring's going to hold up to be. If they decide to come back, or if they decide to hang on for another season. If the NCAA does grant that eligibility, I highly doubt it unless they decide to, make a move to say, yes, we'll give you another year of eligibility. But, that really changes a lot of things. I think it's a perfect opportunity for NDSU. Of course, they could have scheduled any cupcake team to play as well. They could have played North Dakota. They could have played Montana State. They could have played, Joe Bag of Donuts University. But they're going to go after a team that was pretty decent last year. I think they were 9-3 or something like that was Central Arkansas last year. So, it's going to be a good matchup. I've heard, pretty much their whole starting offense is coming back. They've got a maybe a third-year starting quarterback for them. So it'll be very interesting to see. But I think the Bison handle their business.
Oh, yeah, they will because they're that good. They've won how many titles now? That's
8
the big
of
thing.
last 9.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Crazy.
It's crazy. But anyway, next one, Voldy.
Well, we go back to the NFL here. It was announced earlier this week that tests from over the weekend related to the coronavirus were reported as positive, but after further testing of the original test came back as negative, so false positives. A lot of that kind of screwing up a lot of teams' practices and preparations as going into, of course, training camp this past week. And in total, 77 tests came back as false positives. I believe 9 of those were of Minnesota Vikings players and or staff related. And now there's a big investigation to be going on. Yeah. It was 12 individuals from the Vikings reported as false positives. Absurder approved the NFL's testing measures when it comes to the coronavirus.
Well, this whole thing is absurd. And the reason why it's absurd is how are they getting this wrong when the NHL, NBA are getting this right and doing the testing, getting the results that they need, while all of a sudden we're getting all these false positives? I mean, something's wrong here, folks. But good news to hear, the NFL went a full week of full pads and 0 positive results. Thank goodness, because with all these 77 individuals, including some Vikings too, that was a cause for concern when I saw that. Now, when I saw, these were false positives, all of a sudden I see reports and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, seriously, what are they doing wrong? This bioreference, I mean, what's going on? And the thing is why all of a sudden, now there's an investigation. This affected the Vikings, the Jets, the Bears, the Browns. I mean, the Browns pretty much almost canceled practice. I mean, Stefanski was going to shut it down. But then when they heard it was false positives, we can, get a practice in. And he's taking this seriously. All right, Jimbo, why aren't Minnesota Vikings tests sent down to Rochester and the Mayo Clinic? My company is looking for business and would be glad to run them back and forth. See, Jimbo does it all. He does it all.
Really does.
I mean, what are we doing? And the thing is the NFL is, this bioreference, obviously there's something wrong. And there's an investigation on this? Are they trying to screw the season up? Like, come on, man. I don't know what the big deal was. I don't know why it was all these false positives, but is it a conspiracy? I'm not going to go as far to say that because, again, there's a lot of factors into it. But it's absurd beyond belief on this. And, again, life flashed before my eyes when I saw all these positive tests going out. I'm like, no! But then false positives, so we'll see. Good question for you guys to investigate. What doesn't Jimbo do? Exactly! That's a great thing.
Nothing.
So,
he literally doesn't do nothing. That's the answer to that question.
He's the man. He's the man. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, the NFL, things were running too good at this point. It's completely absurd, the fact that, everything was running too smooth. Practices were going well. No preseason games. You learn to deal with that. Things were going just fine. And then all of a sudden, the bottom falls out from under the perfect world that is the NFL. I don't think those two words, perfect and NFL, have ever been used in the same sentence this millennium, let alone ever. But obviously, something's going on. I'm calling a foul. Roger Goodell's got to be in it somehow. So that's where I'm at with that.
Oh, it's ever since Deflategate, right, Voldy?
Pretty much, allegedly.
I don't blame you. Voldy. All right. Part of concern is the type of test, not all
true.
the tests are uniform accuracy. Too many factors involved to nail it down to where the problem is immediately. So it will take an investigation to figure out where the process broke down. Exactly. See, that's probably, Ethan gave me the best explanation that I've seen from anyone. So I appreciate
we gotta
that.
have Ethan come on the show. He's my uncle, and he's got a lot to say, and it's fantastic.
Oh, great.
Especially we start getting closer towards the Stanley Cup Finals. We got to get him on the show.
Yeah, we'll work something out because that's what we do here at MinneZona Sports Live. So anyway, we're going to move on because why not? And Voldy, what do we got?
Well, just when we thought everything was going good about professional teams, college teams not letting fans in, the state of Florida decides to pull a Florida. University of Miami Dolphins saying no fans. Well, we've got a problem. They're going to start letting in fans for the home openers for the University of Miami Hurricanes football home opener and the Miami Dolphins home opener. About 20% of the stadium, 65,326 at Hard Rock Stadium, formerly known as Dolphin Stadium, formerly known as Joe Robbie Stadium, and all the other names that have gone along with it, have decided the fact that the Dolphins and the Hurricanes are going to say, hey, let's have some fans. Let's really make Florida for what it is, the giant petri dish, the cesspool of the United States. Absurd or approved, Miami trying to get the entire world killed with the coronavirus.
Oh, it's absurd. I mean, to be honest, what is it with Florida right now?
Florida, man. Bunch of weirdos.
I mean, it's a great destination for vacations and everything. We get that. But amidst a pandemic, like, what are we doing here? I mean, Miami, University of Miami, the Dolphins, it is super, super risky. And the thing is if they screw this up, which it's definitely a possibility at this point,
Yep.
we got to blame the Dolphins for all these outbreaks. I mean, we got to think about that for a second. And I don't know. Maybe they have a secret vaccine ready to go. I don't know. Do they have a plan? Doesn't seem like it by the way they're doing this. And, I mean, the Florida governor was saying they're not going to make a lot of money this season, clearly. Putting all the money they did into this gives fans the ability to watch some football in person, I think, means a lot. Well, sure, I get that. But if it turns out that all of a sudden there's cases left and right, then NFL, every single team is pointing the blame at you. So it's too risky, I feel like. So I think it's absurd because I think we got to play it safe. We don't want to risk all this, put this out there and deem it risky. And that's the question, is that how are they going to figure out if this goes south? And Mets, good thing the NFC North doesn't play the Dolphins this year.
Very, very true.
Preach. So, again, it's absurd, and they better have parameters, 100%. Ethan says, absurd, the shots are being called by two goats and a chipmunk with poor deposition. They couldn't find a plan with two hands and a flashlight. Perfectly sums it up, Ethan. Stamp of approval on your statement. But, Voldy, what do you think?
I think maybe this is more of a marketing plea because I don't think the Hurricanes and the Dolphins think anyone's going to actually show up. If you've seen any highlights from any Miami game, maybe more of a Marlins game as of late, there's maybe about 20, 30 people, on a good day, when fans were allowed at any of the games. Miami's been trash. Dolphins, the Hurricanes as well. Rich history, poor performance in this millennium. It's completely absurd. The NFL does need a blanket policy, I think. I think they just need to say, look, we're not going to let any fans in for the first 5 games of the season. or however long, and then continue to build off of that as well. Then you can start looking at the possibility of maybe, okay, we get past the first 5 games of the season, then it's up to the teams to decide if they want to let fans in at 15, 20, 25%. The Dolphins, the Hurricanes, they don't know what they're doing. They're just completely run by a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's no sugarcoating this.
No.
You can't make the decision because, let's be honest, Florida, and it's going to attract a lot of people. Yeah, they're going to have games and everything. They're going to let people in. And then you're going to come back with COVID. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's what happened with spring break.
Yep.
When all the people went down there, they came back, they got everybody sick. And that's how we ended up with the big spike in about a month span or what have you. I think it's completely absurd. Miami and Florida just needs to figure it out overall.
As Coach Hines would say, I'm sick of it because I'm sick of it. So, again, these Dolphins, University of Miami, you better have some damn good protocols in place because if you don't, we're blaming you. So,
Yep.
just throwing that out there. So, last one, Voldy.
Well, it's not too often we willingly talk about soccer, but this is a very interesting possibility of a situation of the greatest soccer player in the world coming to the United States. Now, it was reported earlier this week that Leo Messi, longtime player for FC Barcelona, is going to be leaving the team. Now, it's a very interesting situation. Where is Leo Messi going to go? One such team, Manchester City, is willing to offer up Leo Messi a long-term contract that could quite possibly, once Man City's season is done, to have him sneak on over across the pond to play for New York FC. And that would be something very, very interesting. Of course, there's a whole lot that goes into it as well. How much is going to cost, what's it going to be like season-wise, and, him playing as an ambassador, and a whole bunch of different opportunities as well. Absurd or approved, the possibility, the even remote possibility of Leo Messi coming to America.
Oh, stamp of approval. Here, I'll admit this. I'm not a big MLS person. And here's the thing. With Messi, it's kind of the guy, everyone knows Leo Messi. I mean, seriously, you can ask anyone in the United States who's a big soccer person. Messi is one of the big faces of soccer. And with Manchester City willing to offer him that long-term contract, I thought of another team, Voldy, and, Minnesota United, that would be a place, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that work?
Yikes.
I know. That is way too far-fetched.
The world would implode if that happened.
Yeah. If that happened, oh my gosh, I think Minnesota would just explode with excitement. But yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I mean, whatever team he goes to in the United States, if that's a possibility, that'd be pretty sweet. To be honest with you, I tell you what, man, Leo Messi, he'll be all right. No, so if there's a chance, Manchester City, if they're willing to do that, if they can get him, yeah. He's telling Barcelona, hey, I'm done. Like, I'm a head out. So again, with Messi coming to the United States, yeah, I think it'll get the people excited. I think having him in the States would be something that would get the people excited. And that's what we need. Have the Wolves trade the number 1 pick for Messi and bring him to Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Approve, no question about it. It's a huge plus for the MLS to have that kind of talent. In the league, the driver on the destination will be cash, likely. Exactly. That's the big question as well.
Yeah, and you're starting to see a few other big international stars start to look at, the MLS, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yep.
He came over here a couple years ago. It's working out pretty well.
Yeah.
Mario Balotelli, Luis Suarez are a couple other guys that are looking at quite possibly coming over to MLS as well. I believe that's the right Suarez. Don't quote me on that. I don't like soccer all that much. But, it's certainly quite the prospect to see some big names in the world of soccer come to America. And honestly, the MLS, they're getting more teams, and the game is improving a lot more than it was, say, maybe not even 5 years ago, that people were just like, MLS, it's an afterthought. But, I mean, things are starting to pick up.
And, again, there's a lot of MLS fans. And if he gets in the MLS, I think the United States would be, overjoyed and love to see that Messi is in the States playing soccer. You know who I would like to get opinion from, too, is one half of Double Trouble, Caitlin Toner, what she thinks about this. I don't know. More on that later. But, yeah, I think it's got my stamp of approval if they're able to do it. I've also been hearing, I think one of our zoners chimed in saying, he's still under contract and everything like that. So it's going to be
till 2021.
It might get a little messy if you catch my drift on that one. So hopefully not. But again, we like to do the cheesy jokes here. Yeah, and as Coach Hines is saying, listen up, everybody. Okay, so anyway, it's got my stamp of approval. I assume it's got your stamp of approval as well, Voldy, like you were saying. Sir. And I think that's going to do it for ARA. I think what's coming up next, Kirk, can you? Oh yeah, Shield shoutouts. Voldy, you've got a lot of good Shield shoutouts. I mean, one is a big Shield shoutout.
It's a big one. I'll certainly say.
Kirk Doctor, let's roll it.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Voldy, the floor is yours.
Well, first off, you got to check it out right here with the flag.
Oh, fantastic.
Shield shoutouts flag here for this week. Had to do it.
It looks great.
Had to put it up. It looks great. And we got to start off Shield shoutout, of course, this past Monday, 8/24/2020, officially recognized as Kobe Bryant Day for late great basketball legend Kobe Bryant. And the Los Angeles Dodgers decided to honor the legend that is Kobe Bryant on Sunday, on the 23rd, by each player and everybody in the organization on the field beforehand with a pregame tribute, wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey in recognition. And actually, it was his birthday over this past weekend as well, and he would have, celebrated another birthday, but unfortunately taken way too soon from the world itself. And the Los Angeles Dodgers just doing a little bit to honor the memory that is Kobe Bryant. So a big Shield shout out to the Los Angeles Dodgers for honoring such a legend, not only in basketball, not even sports, but just the world itself. Kobe Bryant certainly was a legend in his time, and it's been an unfortunate year of 2020 so far.
Seriously. Well, again, it's with Kobe. I'll add one thing here too. 2020 has taken a lot from us, and the thing is that people honoring one of the best basketball players ever, and he definitely deserves it. And everyone's heartbroken when he passed away with his daughter Gianna. And again, the basketball world was everyone was honoring him, including the Timberwolves. So you love to see that. So perfect Shield shot, Foldy. Next one.
Well, moving on, last night, Chicago White Sox pitcher Lucas Giolito, big Shield shout out to him for throwing a no-hitter, the first no-hitter of the 2020 season. A 4-0 shutout of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the first no-hitter thrown without fans in the stadium. Previous record was only 500 fans, and believe it or not, of all the no-hitters thrown for Chicago, the White Sox, that's their 19th no-hitter in franchise history, believe it or not. Which is crazy to think about how one team has so many no-hitters. So a big Shield shout-out to Lucas Giolito. Let's just hope he doesn't carry that performance throughout the season, especially when playing against the Twins. So let's just hope that doesn't carry on.
Well, Maeda came close, so I don't know.
This is very true.
I wish
we do have to send an unfortunate Shield shout-out this week. Unfortunately, the passing of a Duluth native and the world's oldest hockey player, Mark Surdich, passed away this week at the age of 99 years old. Excuse me. Set the record a couple of years ago, certified by Guinness World Records as the world's oldest hockey player, playing all the way up until, according to reports and some close friends of his, even in the month of July was still playing hockey. 99 years old, said he wanted to play to 100. Well, unfortunately, just wasn't in the cards. And let's hope there's that frozen pond in the sky that is waiting for Mark Surdich, and he can still continue on. So, unfortunately, we do say rest in peace, the world's oldest hockey player, Duluth native Mark Surdich.
Absolutely. And, you know, wow, 99 years old. I mean, that's...
99 years old.
If that's not a full life, I don't know what is. But, you know, hopefully he's in a hockey pond in the sky skating around. So, World War II veteran, too, Jack is saying. So, it's good to know.
Well,
good to know.
Finally, we have come to that magical moment here in Shield Shoutouts. We want to wish a happy belated 2-year wedding anniversary to loyal zoners, family, friends of the show, DJ and Molly Vold. We do some claps. That'd be fantastic. Also announced yesterday, 2-year wedding anniversary, and also DJ and Molly are expecting a child. It was officially announced yesterday. That's... yours truly is going to be an uncle.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And decided to do something, as a good uncle would always do, get a little bit of a head start.
Oh, let's go! Let's go!
1 of 1 right here. Got the onesie. We've got a brand new zoner on the way. So we want to wish congratulations to DJ and Molly, and a happy wedding anniversary yesterday, but also congratulations. And, this will be in the mail. How about we'll just say that for right now. So, congratulations to the parents-to-be, and hopefully they'll be tuning in, or they've gotten the congratulations from, of course, our family, and also yesterday for the wedding anniversary. So congratulations, a big Shield shout-out to soon-to-be parents, that being DJ and Molly, and that's going to do it for Shield shout-outs this week.
Oh, perfect. I love the onesie, Uncle Paul, and also, shout out, again, DJ, congratulations, Molly, congratulations. And one other thing, too, Uncle Paul, and everything, but Grandpa Jimbo, and Grandma Volt, okay? Grandma Jane Volt, I mean, they got to be ecstatic. And they just got to, it's going to be awesome. The onesie, fantastic. We have another zoner to add to the Zoner Nation. We love it. Absolutely love it. Stamp of approval all around. Stamp of approvals. So, we love it. But, again, great job with Shield shout-outs. Voldy, great job with the show as well. We had a lot of zoners chiming in. We really appreciate it. Yep, it's all love around here. Love it. Jimbo is loving it. Your mom's loving it. Everyone's loving it. Grandpa Shimbo. Look at all that. Hey, Matt, you need to snag one of those baby onesies for Emma. Jimbo, let's talk so we can get one.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up. I just knew as soon as I saw it. It's like, ooh, this is going to cause some controversy, but I love it.
Well, we'll figure something out. We'll work it out. But we'll get it going. But anyway, one thing, too. Speaking of those onesies, too. MinneZona shirts. We know there's been a lot of zoners that have gotten their shirts. But also, this also helps us pay for the internet service. Because, if you buy a shirt, then that helps us pay for the internet service that we pay for to give you MinneZona Sports. So we, hope that you got your shirts. If you want a shirt, you got to talk to Jimbo. You either can talk to me, Kerf Doctor, or Voldy, okay? And, if you haven't got it yet, you should. It's great, comfortable feel and everything like that. So, check that out. And also, W2 Performance, Will Rattel. He's got a podcast, people. Make sure you check him out as well. He's got some cool stuff. My gosh. He has videos on videos already. I'm trying to keep up and watch him. But Will's doing a fantastic job as well. And then I have one more thing, Voldy. I have an update.
Update.
It involves Double Trouble.
Double trouble.
Their certificates for SMSU Media are in the mail and will be arriving here soon. So, I know, the time has finally come. We finally got them. And that's impossible, as Coach Hines is saying. So we finally got that for Double Trouble. That's the thing. Can we talk about Voldy repping my team? Hey, I think he put that on for you, Jack.
Pile, baby.
Yeah.
Had to do it.
Had
to do it this week.
We love it. We love it. So anyway, Double Trouble, I put, there you go. Thank you, Kirk Doctor. See, I'm not only saying it. Voldy, you're not only saying it. Kirk Doctor is as well. So they will. I mean, once they get the certificates, they'll get it done. So anyway, again, great job, Voldy. Great job, Kirk Doctor. I think we'll be back next week from what I understand. So we'll keep it rolling. We love the onesie. We'll work out a deal. And always, folks, remember, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.